What's up, you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre. Welcome back to the channel and this Apex Legends video. And with an all-new season of Apex comes an all-new season quest to deliver us even more juicy Apex Legends lore. This comic is called The Family Portrait, and it talks about the hunt for an antique battery pack that will force Pathfinder, Octane, Gibraltar, and Lifeline to confront their past as families are reunited, secrets are uncovered, and their loved ones are taken hostage. But who's the real villain in this story? You only think you know. And after reading the first issue of this comic, I'm happy to report that I'm instantly hooked, and I can't wait to find out what happens next week, which is a huge improvement over Season 6, which didn't really give me much to care about in terms of Apex lore until about 3 or 4 weeks into the season. Now, as we read through this comic, I'm going to interrupt occasionally to provide some context or my own thoughts of what's going on in the situation, but let's get started. So, about last night, Gibby says, "I'll make it quick, one swing and you won't feel a thing." And Lifeline is holding what seems to be the very damaged body of a fancy Pathfinder. They're all holed up at a party, and this is an extremely exciting event and interrupted by Octane. Psych, you thought that was the beginning of the story? Nope, it's actually the middle. It's super dramatic, so you want to stick around, don't you? Ha, Chase says I'm a terrible storyteller behind Meander. It's frustrating. But who's meandering now, Hermana? Wait, what was the thing? Right, our story actually starts with a couple of boring Marvins. And here we have Pathfinder staring at a Marvin unit, and Gibraltar off screen says Bretta hasn't left his side in days, thinks it's a dead relative or something. Dumped, and now this. Wish we could power it on to cheer him up. And I'm gonna interrupt really quick here to let you guys know that you can actually find this Marvin unit in game, and if you go up to him with Pathfinder, he actually says something to it. If you want to go find this Marvin unit for yourself, it's located in between Turbine and Hammond Robotics in the maintenance tunnels. It's a little bit out of the way off to the side on a staircase up to the right. And if you walk into this room labeled maintenance, you will find the Marvin unit. And Pathfinder laments about the fact that the Marvin isn't awake. He wishes it was, and maybe that it knows his creator. So fingers crossed, we get some more information about Pathfinder's creator. That's been a huge mystery since the beginning of this the game, really. Nobody knows, not even Pathfinder, who his creator is, let alone how long he's been around for. It's only stated that he woke up decades ago inside that warehouse that you've seen him in before. So, Lifeline asks, why don't we? And Gibraltar says it's a model from last century and asks if they have, a century-old battery pack lying around. And Lifeline mentions another very important name. I know a guy, Darian Che. And if you don't know Lifeline's real name, her name is AJ Che. That means Darian Che is right. That's her father. In the background, Octane shouts, "Chica, no!" and then slips up and, cuts himself with his butterfly knife. And Gibraltar mentions what, the drone guy? And also my father, and a fool who collects antique robots. And Lifeline mentions this event down in Malta tonight that they could swing by and grab that battery pack. Now at this point, I want to remind you guys that we first heard the name Darian way back at the end of Season 5 in this text conversation between Lifeline and Octane. It was directly from Ash that they heard the names Darian and Eduardo, and this terrified Octane. So now we know that Darian is Lifeline's dad, so it stands to reason that maybe Eduardo could be Octane's father. We also heard that Ash was speaking a wee bit Scottish, which of course our new legend Horizon has that Scottish accent as well. So perhaps Horizon and Ash have some connected history, considering Ash actually is missing some of her past as well. So, moving on, we get a tease for what many think is going to be Gibraltar's heirloom, this badass looking black axe he has in his hands. But I want to point out to you guys something else. It's the particular look on his face when he looks at that axe, combined with the questions that he actually asks. He asks, "Oh, Malta? Do any cops attend these events?" And Lifeline asks him, "Hey, do you want to report a crime?" And he's like, "Yeah, something like that." And just the way he's got this look in his eyes and he's looking at that axe Gibraltar has something bad that he did in the past. Gibraltar did some bad stuff, and he regrets it, and he's afraid of the cops coming for him for it. So what did Gibraltar do? Oh my god, I don't know. And then after this, of course, Octane, doesn't want to let Lifeline go it alone. Swears to make everybody come and join him. So they all get together and want to have a party together. And that's where we got left off with, is that these guys are all going to go to a party together, and Octane leaving us some little teasers like what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna have to wait next week to find out. And I really love the way this is a story being kind of told by Octane through Octane's eyes. It's kind of cute like that. And I'm also really excited to see the story threads that we saw teased in Season 5, like Ash knowing about Olympus, Darian, and Eduardo finally coming to fruition. And I actually went ahead and I tweeted at the senior writer for Apex Legends, Tom Casiello, kind of asking him about the potential future of this season. Because if you don't know this, he actually told us that back right before Season 6, they had created a sequel to The Broken Ghost, but it got scrapped at the last minute, and they had to replace it with the first ship comics, the Pathfinder Dating Ash comics that we got in the end. And I asked him, you said in the past that the Broken Ghost sequel was scrapped and replaced with the first ship, and is this season's comic at all related to this previously untold story? And he was kind enough to not only retweet me, but give me an entire tweet thread, a nice reply to kind of give us some closure and explain what happened to that sequel that we never got and how it's being incorporated into Apex Legends in the future. Tom says, I would love to pick at scabs and reopen wounds as much as the next masochist, but after the heartache of being forced to scrap so much, we took a different approach to the Season 7 lore. Everyone's story progresses, but in multiple formats, so if one aspect ended up changing, we wouldn't have to scrap everything. Imagine if one aspect of one mode, like the Broken Ghost chapters, got killed at the last second in Season 5, we would have been left with zero lore that season. So instead, in Season 7, story will play out in the comic, in the game, over social media, and in a few surprises we have up our sleeves. So if one of those things doesn't survive for whatever reason, we still have the others and haven't thrown the baby out with the bathwater. As for the sequel to The Broken Ghost, certain aspects of that draft still survive. Pieces of it were in The Last Ship, pieces of it are in The Family Portrait. The multiple planned storylines got scattered. I'm working on one from the sequel that now doesn't play out until Season 9. In this industry, you learn to roll with the punches, and everything we had planned will eventually make it to the game. Just playing out over the year as opposed to, just one season. Not our first choice for sure, but comes with the territory when you're telling multiple stories in a battle royale game that wasn't designed to tell multiple stories in the first place. We're still psyched to continue on this journey as we find new ways to continue telling each legend's personal tale of triumph and tragedy. And just first off, I really wanted to thank Tom Casiello for taking the time to give me that awesome response, and then give us some closure and just a little bit of extra insight as to what happened going into Season 6 and why that quest wasn't the quest many of us were expecting. With all that said, I couldn't be more excited to see next week's chapter of the Apex Legends Season 7 quest. I hope you guys are too. If you want to stay up to date on Apex Legends, go ahead and click that subscription button and tap that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. In the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and I'm out.